This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
With that said, we're gonna bring on a prophet of sorts to add something to the gumbo of this conversation. The Honorable Judge Joe, how you doing today, sir?
Oh, here we go.
All right, gentlemen, how are you?
Oh, it's an honor,
I'm
man. I know you a little bit.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm kind of losing my voice, but I'll see how long I can hold out.
Well, the people want to hear from you, Judge. What's your take on this? Because you've been a day one. You get this Cosby BS and all this other stuff.
That trial
yeah, go
was
ahead.
a damn disgrace. Everything that can go wrong in an American trial went with that. Okay, first off, Fifth Amendment. You have an absolute right to remain silent. In a civil action, if there's no criminal action, you don't have that right. So what happens is this woman sued Dr. Cosby. His lawyers brought up the Fifth Amendment and said he doesn't have to respond because he might be criminally liable. Well, the DA of the district at that time said, no worries, we're not going to prosecute him. The civil judge said, well, all right, you have to give a deposition. He didn't admit anything. He just told his version of the facts. Well, a new DA got elected and said, well, forget the agreement. We're going to use this statement he gave in the civil case as our main evidence. And then they started bringing in stuff, including some garbage from some I found, incredible witness from 51 years before the trial. The judge was a disgrace. He lost control of the trial. The proceedings are crazy. He let the jury get out of control. He let a spectacle be put on around and about his courtroom and courthouse. And the state Supreme Court just said, this is so much garbage, there's nothing can be done. It's gone, it's out. So Cosby walks out the door. Now, to get into some other things, this judge had 60 days to file a basic report on the trial proceedings. He took 9 months. See, stuff like that. Oh, we got somebody we think is horrible. Let's lock him up. Some women got done wrong. Well, women should not get done wrong, but when the women are essentially groupies who got what they wanted, because the old phrase used to be sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And they got just what they wanted, and nobody made anybody do anything else. Well, 15, 20, 17, 11 years after the fact, now you've talked to a Gloria Allred or somebody like that who's told you it's not your fault. It's got to be one of these evil men, and then you get on a witch hunt. And see, the main point is you don't want the government to get into the business of persecution. And with Cosby, you have two very bad things coming around here. One, it was right at the height of this hashtag Me Too fad. And secondly, Cosby was about to get control of NBC. Just stinks to high heaven. So one person is not really the issue. The issue is the impact on the entire system. And by the way, your guest here said he thought Memphis was the music city. I've been here for half a century. I don't know any income of any substantial basis that's made in this city from music. Do you?
Maybe barbecue.
But that's supposed to be
Nashville.
Music City. It's distribution center of the country. And that thing, we just barely fell behind Hong Kong because of the circumstances of the last couple of years with COVID. So also a few other little geopolitical things, but I mean, it is what it is.
Now, I ask Judge, what do you think Cosby should do legally? Could he get his money back from the lady?
No, he can't.
He can't get his
this
money
thing
back.
called sovereign immunity.
Okay.
They'd have to have a special private act of the legislature to get him compensation.
So I mean, could he sue anybody? Like, I mean, the judge, the trial judge, the conflict of interest with his wife. So he can't sue anybody. Not even Gloria Allred. I know his insurance paid out some of the so-called victims without his consent, you know, which is Cosby's
That's
got
their
royally
business.
screwed. That's what you telling
Right.
me.
He was
He did.
infuriated about that,
Rightfully so.
from what I
He did.
understand. Yeah.
And it's mob justice.
It certainly
I was-
appears that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See,
but-
some of
yeah.
those women that were on that cover of what was it, the women's magazine that claimed that Cosby
Mhm.
did what he did.
Right.
See, I was at some of the parties way back when. I go visit L.A. and they'd show up, see through, 15, 20 minutes, the top would be off. Half hour, the bottom would be off, and they'd be walking around naked with a chain, doing blow, drinking wine, and giving people head jobs all throughout the mansion where stuff was going on.
Wow.
And they'd come back again. Now, they tried to jumpstart a career that didn't have much to it in the first place. And they're old and wrinkly, and they feel they got done wrong. They don't have anybody to blame but themselves. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what happens when you get groupies, whether it's NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, rap, music, you name it. Television, movies, celebrity, politics.
I wanted to ask the judge a question.
Go ahead.
I was curious about I think they're known as bad act witnesses in I think it was this trial in which Cosby was convicted. There were,
That
I think,
was
at least
horrendous.
five bad act
horrendous.
witnesses. Right.
This
is one of the things that I found very, horrendous, I think is a perfect word for it. None of their claims went to trial. In other words, they were just basically saying it was like she said against Cosby. So none of them were adjudicated. None of what they had stated was proven in any court that I'm aware of.
Well,
So
let me tell you something about that. I know where
I'm
you're
curious
going with
as to
this.
how they were allowing those individuals to
That-
testify.
That's what that was inclusive in my statement about the judge was a disgrace. Now, let me
Okay.
tell you what I'm saying. I dealt with that a lot. You have to be very, very vigilant about that. The only time you let that in is that's the only way they can prove a necessary element of the case. They had what they needed, assuming it was viable. Now, here's what happens. We have this mass thing of everybody thinks they can go protest on the steps of the courthouse and get the verdict they want. That's mob justice.
Yeah.
You don't want that. The other thing is the stupid ignorance in the public today about law. Today on Twitter, in commenting about that, somebody said, well, he's guilty. Nobody disproved those women's accusations. Well, you big dumb fool, that's not American law. You don't have to disprove somebody's accusations. You have to
Right.
prove that the accusations are true.
Right. Precisely. You cannot disprove a lie. As far as I'm
Well, the
concerned.
other thing is you have no obligation to do it because under the American system, you have these rights that are looked at as criminal rights when actually what they were intended to be is rights of the public to be free from political oppression.
Interesting.
And that's deemed more important. They have a thing in American law that says, an old axiom, it is better to let 100 guilty men go free than convict one innocent man.
Yeah, I've heard that statement.
But people don't get
But
it now because they are part of this. Everybody gets a trophy. We are all entitled to get what we want outlook now, that because they've got a whim, they want it satisfied, and they don't get educated enough, they don't get exposed enough. What education they get is not vigorous enough to get them to contemplate that there are other sides to any issue, but aside from the one that they want.
the judge in this case is a piece of work. And as a judge, I know you just stated that you clearly
Now
find this
describe him,
man
he's a piece of
wanted.
rat ass shit.
Sounds like a good description to me. This guy is a piece of work. I believe his name was Stephen T. O'Neill. I believe that's his name. He not only invalidated the agreement, or said it, basically said that the agreement that the former DA, I believe his name was Bruce Castor, had conducted with Cosby. He said, that won't work. Not only did he do that, but he also made sealed documents, I believe, because Andrea Constant, who was, I believe, the person that was accusing Cosby, she had filed a civil suit. And the documents were sealed. And he said they should be unsealed. So not only is he allowing these documents to be unsealed, but he's also saying that the agreement between the former DA and Cosby was, I guess, in effect, null and void or something akin to that.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm not an attorney, so I can only speak as a layman.
You can't do that.
Right. I mean, the moves in this case, I mean, I'm looking at one terrible decision after another. And again, I'm a layman. I'm not a lawyer, though I play one on TV. No, just joking. It seems like one terrible decision by this judge, who of course had run for DA in the county in Pennsylvania where this is adjudicated. He'd run against Bruce Castor, and they had a history of personal antagonism toward each other. I mean, it seems like every facet of this trial is like one rotten aspect after another. Now, I'm probably misusing this term, Judge, and I know since you are a lawyer and a judge, you know better than I do. But to me, this entire trial just seems like fruit of the poison tree.
That's good. That's a good way of putting it. Wong Song doctrine, the fruit of the poisonous tree, and that's it. If the tree's poisonous, you can't use anything that comes off of the tree. One thing we had here is we had a deplorable movement that I understand had a genuine basis for coming into being as #MeToo. But somehow or another, that seems to have gotten perverted, and it was moved on by the media, mainstream and social, where people forgot that there are larger issues. They just wanted what they wanted in the short term. So this judge didn't have the backbone, the professional integrity or personal integrity to enforce the law, which was you can't do that. He also strikes me as one of those I'm oh so familiar with that did not do all that well in law school. Because anybody coming out of a first year con law course in law school knows better than to do what he let happen.
Right. You know, that's a good point. I'm glad you made it and not I, because I don't have a law degree. So as a layman, I can't make those determinations other than to say it seems just a terrible series. Like I said, a terrible series of decisions. And from what I've seen.
Let me give an example. It's a trial in my courtroom. I kept control over it. The press was all into it. It was supposed to be this horrible rape. And they wanted to get into proof of all this other kind of stuff on the guy's behalf. So when the testimony had gotten to this point, check it out. The rape victim says the convertible top was down. They were in the park. She was forced to get on top of him. When she got worried about getting pregnant, she reached over, got her purse, got her keys out of the purse, climbed off of him, climbed out of the car, walked about 35 yards away, unlocked the door to her car, went in the glove compartment and got 3 condoms, came back and put one on him, and then got back on.
Cena lost the audio.
Yeah, what I said was she testified that she got off of him, climbed over the side of his convertible, walked 35 yards to her car, unlocked her car door, opened up the glove compartment, got 3 condoms, came back, climbed back into the convertible, put a condom on the so-called rapist, then got back on him so the rape could continue. And they wanted to bring in proof of other crimes, but when it came out later, there was a lot more to it that had nothing to do with rape. It was 3 women that were very angry with each other, and they had all sequentially been involved with this guy. So they decided they were going to fix him. I wouldn't let that in. The prosecution got mad. The jury, of course, acquitted him, and then a few months later, all that other nonsense started coming out. But you see, there's this thing. Being a judge is a nice job for a lawyer. It's not as aggravating. You're in charge of what happens, not trying to convince some idiot that your way is the right way. So a lot of people weren't good at practicing law. They didn't have big cases, so they get a steady salary, vacation, some insurance benefits, very little retirement, and they keep a job. So they don't look to the duties and responsibilities of being a judge. They look to the perks. And then, quite frankly, sometimes some of the judges some of us who wear the bat capes, we're just plain blockheaded, donkey stupid.
Well, Judge, I want to just verify something. I'm just tired of our people so slow. We always 2 decades behind the scene with everything else. And people say, well, this is a fairy tale. This is an urban legend about Bill Cosby trying to buy the NBC network. Bill Cosby tried to buy the network several times. This is from New York Times, October 29th, 1992. He's not trying to buy it by himself. He had a group organized. Like, he was a part of a group that owned a Coca-Cola bottling plant outside of Philadelphia with Dr. J. And it's interesting to note that him and Dr. J both lost their sons in tragic ways. They found Dr. J's son at the bottom of a retention pond outside of Orlando in the suburb. I think it was like either 99 or 2000. I remember hearing about that case, and Bill Cosby's son, Ennis, was knocked out on the 405 under suspect circumstances in L.A. These folks come to play. Most murders go unsolved, but this is from New York Times, October 29th, 1992. He's trying to buy NBC from General Electric. So y'all could just do a quick Google search. I'm tired of people being lazy with trying to find out what's going on with stuff. It's not hard to find. I even found another article I'm going to share right quick that talks about him trying to buy the network in 2011. So the information is out there. You just got to be willing to go get it. A lot of y'all want people to pass y'all the baton and, well, they overlooking me. I deserve to be the so-and-so. You got to take it. I remember I talked to Julian Bond 20-something years ago in college. Here's another one. This is from 2011. Cosby tries again to buy NBC network, not for sale, says General Electric, but bid is prepared. This is October 23rd, 2011. And guess what, folks? He was trying to buy stuff still in 2014. He had that major multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix. He had a sold-out comedy tour. He had a lot of things. He was not on the out. He was even trying to do a sitcom, from my understanding. So they snatched all that away from Cosby in 2014. And now they thought they could break him. He can't sue nobody. According to the judge, he can't sue anybody, Judge, for this gross miscarriage of justice. Nobody. He can't get his money back from these schools. They revoked his honorary doctors. All these folks took this money from him over the years. All the things he done for the culture, it means nothing. He got a poor return on his investment. That's what you telling me, Judge?
See, we've let the law get out of hand because we've allowed it to accumulate the power to deliberately bankrupt or financially ruin someone so they cannot progress in a way that certain other people might not want to occur. Especially bad in the federal system. They've got a habit of bringing prosecutions they know they can't win, but will financially ruin somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, see, if Cosby had that network, there would have been more decency, more appropriateness, more ethics, more morality, instead of this sleaze that we get right now. Most of these networks have an agenda, and the agenda is not a healthy one.
I mean, Judge, let's talk about you've been trying to get on TV for years, right? Back on TV.
I don't care. I'm too old for that crazy mess. But I'm blackballed. You know, I wouldn't go along with their program. They tried to embezzle a lot of money from me. They were always doing that. This whole thing, I told you about this several times. When I had this show, it hadn't even been a month and a half old. They had a function. It was big ticket television. Had one. I think it was at the Beverly Hilton. It's been 23 years ago.
Okay.
And I was a bachelor. I'm young 50s and I like to dance. Well, I wound up talking to a woman that I had known before. And we sat at a table. She got up, excused herself to go to the ladies' room. She took a long time coming back. When she sat down, she said, "Do you know that guy over there, tall guy in the gray suit?" I said, "Yeah." Said he walked up and offered me $2,000 in cash if I'd sign a note saying you tried to cop fields on me. So she and I went around and found all of the women that I could recall dancing with, and we got similar statements in writing from them. So it's a matter of self-protection. Myself and my publicist, she was a young female, we set up a trap. We invented a woman, and we filed affidavits as we went along with the invention, who was being aware of it, and so on and so forth. And about 6 weeks later, these idiots wanted to call me up to headquarters to complain about me trying to proposition this woman in return for her getting employment. And it's the fictitious woman. And that was the story we were feeding them. So they had a fake letter. So they weren't there 6 weeks later. I was for another going on 14 years. But that's the way they roll.
Yeah,
that's why people get married so often in Hollywood, because of this kind of thing. It's not safe to date. So if you want to date somebody, you marry them first. I got too many gold diggers, freaks, and folk that have no scruples, no morality, and no ethics.
Well, I used to live in L.A. Twice, and well, I didn't live in Hollywood proper per se, but elsewhere. And I used to review films as well. So what I know of the town, what you say makes a lot of logical sense, because there's what I call a pay-to-play kind of mentality among a certain subsets of people in LA. They're looking to get what they can from people. So the whole getting married before you know someone because you don't want to date, I'm reminded of what Nick Cannon said on a show once. He said that there are people looking to get celebrities, to sue celebrities, get them into lawsuits, sue them to collect I don't know how much money from them. And it's something
Get a
that you have to
settlement.
kind of be prepared for. Yeah, you have to be prepared for if you're a celebrity, especially if you're a larger celebrity. Because I was always curious about that. Every time I hear these claims, suits against certain actors or certain musicians or certain people, I always wondered if there's a agenda going on, like
There
people
he is.
looking to collect. Yeah.
You get warned by your agents and everything of the latest scams that people have come up with. Like there was one, I won't mention the names involved, but there was a celebrity sitting in first class. So somebody got up out of coach to go use the restroom on the airplane in first class.
Mhm.
The person deliberately stumbled, fell onto the lap of the celebrity, and then wanted to sue the celebrity for supposedly causing them to have a fall. That was one of the favorite little scams.
Yeah. That sounds like the old slip and fall. You're in somewhere and you try to slip and fall and you break your back or pretend that you have a back injury, a neck injury, and you sue whatever place you're in, a bank or a store
Yeah,
or
it's
something like
unclean. Now I got a sore throat. I got to get out of here. So, but it's been good talking to everybody. But I said I'd add my
Yeah.
3 cents to the mix, and that's it.
Well, Judge,
I'm glad Dr. Cosby got out. He should have. He never should have been in there. And the system drug its feet trying to keep him in there as long as it could to punish him, because essentially he just went along with some women who wanted to jumpstart their careers, and they were being groupies, and they got what they wanted. Like this woman that was the complaint. How many times she go over there or call him on Valentine's Day after this was supposed to have happened? 7 times. You know, that.
I mean, there was no evidence. He was not convicted of rape, correct? It wasn't a rape charge. They keep on calling him a convicted rapist in the media.
Yeah, I know. And see, they do that. That's like Wesley Snipes got called convicted of income tax evasion. You know, I was there. I was a witness during the sentencing. IRS said he overpaid his taxes by $250,000. What the jury found him guilty of by relying upon a firm that wasn't licensed to do what it did was failure to file a complete set of tax forms.
That's
but
crazy.
they
Only in America, right?
They had a refund check for him for $250,000 for overpaying his taxes.
But here's the thing, Judge. I just came from Arlington Cemetery to pay my respects to people like Medgar Evers, and Joe Louis is buried in Arlington Cemetery. He's an American hero. Even did free boxing exhibitions for soldiers during World War II. Gave the government $1 million of his own earnings, and they still used the IRS to destroy Joe Louis.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe they'll do that with that woman with BLM. They'll Al Capone her.
Rat-a-tat-tat. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, anyway, I got to get out of here. So, gentlemen, it's good. My throat is giving out.
Yeah, go wish you well. You're a trooper,
well,
Judge.
it was good to see you. It was good to see you again, Judge. I was on your radio show talking about Sam Cooke this past February. So
yes, sir.
It was good to see you again.
Thank you for coming on.
And happy early birthday.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Happy early birthday.
And I appreciate your insight here.
All right. Happy early birthday, Judge. We love you, man.
Oh, that's right.
It's July the 5th.
Monday.
That's right. I hope you do something. I hope you use your barbecue sauce this weekend.
Let's say I'll be celebrating the 53rd anniversary of my 21st birthday.
That's right. There you go. Man, it's an honor, man. I appreciate you. You're a true national treasure.
I'm out of here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was Judge making his drop. Yeah, he's a trooper, man. He's been dealing with some throat issues, and just an honor, man. So I heard about the Cosby. Yeah. I mean, he used his throat to make. He used that to make money. That's his. Hey, he used it to make money. His gift. But I'm glad we had a chance to get Joe on the record, Judge Joe on the record about this, because he's been consistent in his support of Mr. Cosby and of this travesty of a spectacle, like he said, bread and circuses.
everybody. This is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.